Hey guys, David here. Last podcast for the week. It's been a huge week. We've been in Brizzy, Gold Coast, Melbourne, and now we're just going to catch up north of Melbourne. We're going to go to one of the Dahlsens supplier stores. We're going to catch up with the national sales manager. The owner, from what we've heard on the phone, is 90, still in the office every single day. It's really interesting to see from a very, very high level how a company like this operates. And it's really good to get insights from a high level on what's happening with these guys, because there's obviously a lot of controversy in the market, people going under and people thinking that work's slowing down. So enjoy this podcast. Please comment below if you are a customer to Dahlsens and let us know what you think about them. Simon, thank you very much. Appreciate it for coming in, letting us come into your store today. So yeah, awesome. Yeah, let's set the stage a little, let everyone sort of know where you're from, where you grew up. Are you from Melbourne?
Yeah.
Give us a bit of a rundown.
Yeah, cool. No, Melbourne born and bred, the southeast suburbs of Melbourne. So nice. Keen AFL follower. I've got two beautiful teenage girls at home, which keep me on my toes, right?
Yeah,
which is good. I've worked for Dahlsens for probably 15 years in their role as sales manager. So that sort of takes me sort of from Victoria, New South Wales into ACT. It's our southern region. Enjoy my golf on weekends with my buddies. We've sort of all migrated from the career club across to the golf club later in life, which has been pretty cool. And I just have a passion for sales and trying to give our builders solutions. That's a lot of what we work on here, and building relationships, which is something I really enjoy. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's good. When you sort of first moved out of school, did you see all the way through to the end of school, or were you...
Got to year 12 and sort of like, I was 18. I was just like, I'm not too sure about this school stuff. I want to go out and work and just
like a lot of tradies, I think.
Sort of found a few odd jobs and then sort of landed in the building industry probably about 25 years or so ago, and really enjoy it.
What did you start out doing in the building industry?
I started initially working with some mates in a glazing business.
Yeah.
So just
commercial, residential?
Yeah, just some residential, commercial stuff. So just getting out inside and trying not to cut fingers off and all that fun stuff, right? So that was a good introduction, and through to selling windows for like a window company, and then like most of us, spend some time, a few years over at Bunnings. Worked for the Big Green Beast, and then landed right at the family business at Dahlsens, and sort of haven't looked back. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. So glazing, was that on the tools or more like sales related the whole way through?
No, that was more on the tools, right? Nice. So I quickly discovered that probably wasn't my forte.
That's only one way to find out, man.
Before I hurt myself or someone else, I better get off. So but enjoyed myself there, and learned a little, gave me a bit of an insight into what happens out on site and trades and builders. And
I think that's the best thing about trying to stay as relatable as possible to builders, is having some on-site experience, because I think you don't really know how tough it is until you've done some on-site stuff, whether you're a fencer or a builder or a glazer or a plumber. Like it can be tough.
Yeah, totally agree.
When you moved into the sales stuff, was that still for the glazing business? Was that commission stuff only? I
was working I started off with just working in a showroom for a timber window manufacturer, right? And just and through that had some exposure with some of the sort of larger volume builders in Melbourne. Just sort of give us a bit of an eye opener to how they went about things and the quick pace action of the turnaround times, and then to get stuff out in sight, and just the time sensitivities around the trade. So they gave me some more exposure to different types of builders, and a bit of an education around windows as well.
Cool. What did you learn at Bunnings? I'm always pretty fascinated. Anyone that's worked in a big corporate structure, it's very different to smaller companies. A few takeaways from working at Bunnings. Did you see a lot of stuff that you could bring over here to Dahlsens?
Yeah, for sure. So it was my first real role as in account management or external sales. So out there talking to the builders. So that was really cool. I mean, Bunnings are a big corporation. They had some some great training programs, some leadership programs and stuff like that, which I was fortunate enough to be identified and went through some of that, which is great. And again, just gave me a really good exposure to just different size builders, from your extension, reno, deck building guys out in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne into some of the larger builders. So that was good. And
what would you say, what were kind of the easiest builders to kind of deal with? Commercial guys, the smaller guys? Everyone kind of wants different things from their sales rep, essentially.
For me, I found it was...
You don't have to slag anyone off.
No.
It's just good to know.
No, for me it was more the smaller residential builders, right? Just guys you could go in there and you could really try and add some value and help them out.
For sure.
You know, they've got a million and one things to do on their checklist each day, right? So if I can go in there and just make their life a little bit easier and just get products for them out on site when they needed it. And through that, they'd appreciate that extra sort of mile you'd go for them, and you could, forge some good relationships with them.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I feel like there's, I mean, I've definitely come from the residential building background, like very, very small, like, turnover $2 million a year, that's kind of capped. And it's very hard at that stage to get other people in the business to wear some of the hats. You are wearing all the hats, so I find it, man, we had a great rep from Mitre 10 when I was young, and they would just do anything they could for you. Like if you've forgotten, just to get a box of glues when you're jibbing screws, they would send a rep out just to drop it off. Not all the time, but getting those little things makes a huge difference for a real small business, Yeah.
I agree.
What's the best thing you like about living in Melbourne, mate?
Oh, I think it's a whole. Like I'm a sports nut, right? So I grew up loving sports. AFL. Passionate Carlton supporter. Love my cricket. So just to be Melbourne, we're so sport for big sporting events.
100%.
Great sports precinct in Richmond, and you got the MCG and all that. I really love that side of things. To the the CBD. I love that coffee culture. That's cool. It's a really good vibe. And I love going away and seeing other big cities, and it's always really nice to come home. So that to me, that's Did
Bunnings give you any corporate box action on any
Yeah, well, they used to have a box at the footy, right? Yeah. So whenever they couldn't fill it, it'd be sort of the late minute call out, like, hey, do you want to come along to whoever might be playing at the MCG that night? So we used to get a few nights in there and you have a bit of fun and build some relationships and a couple of beers on a Friday night watching the footy, right?
That's the one, man. Did Dahlsens have a box as well, or?
No, we do some events. We sort of just do some sort of bespoke events here and there. So that sort of varies from horse races to the footy to car racing. It's for us, it's more about just wanting what our customers like and trying to build some events around that. So
nice. So kind of core customers that you guys have will get invited to these things. What, 5-6 times a year?
Some not so much. It might be just depending on the customer. It might be once a year, might be a couple of times a year. We'll have some local golf days because we're spread over a large geographic region. We'll do some stuff up in Swan Hill and Mildura. We'll have a golf day up there, but we'll do something in Melbourne as well for the local builders. So lots of little small events. We'll get our suppliers involved as well. And even if simple things like, we call them shout the bar. It's just hiring a pub out on a Friday night, right, for a couple of hours.
Shout the bar.
Yeah, we get a couple of our suppliers along. They get to talk to the local builders about their new products, whatever. We get to meet them. We have a couple of beers. Everyone's pretty relaxed. It seems to work well.
I feel like, the sales space and everything's trying to move away towards automation, not as much face-to-face interaction, less handshakes. I'm still a firm believer in getting out and actually seeing people and shaking hands is real good for business, so I think it's good that you do that stuff. I tried to ring up NAB Bank this week to sort some shit out, and you just talk to a robot, and then when I get on the phone with a person, I'm like, please remove your robots. They can't solve your problems. So good to see that you guys do that. You obviously cross quite a sort of wide demographic of stores. How do you sort of manage that? How many stores are you looking after? And if you want to
so we've got
your time management, I suppose.
So for me, I'm sort of responsible for our account managers, but heavily involved. So we've got a team of just over 40 account managers throughout New South Wales and Canberra.
How many Dahlsens stores are in all your states?
Total? So we're also in Cairns. Don't quote me because I should know this off the top of my head, but I reckon it's 40 plus sites sort of throughout the East Coast.
Around about one account manager per store?
Give or take. In the metro environments, we might have a couple in at a branch. So like here we'll have there's 3 that currently work out of the branch we're currently in today in Melbourne. Where a lot of our regional sites will be just 1, maybe 2 account managers. So
cool. Do you guys do any specific sales training stuff for your sale and account managers?
Regular
stuff?
Not regular. It's sort of been some ad hoc stuff we've done over the years. Where we've got some external sort of sales experts. Everyone's got their own way of doing things, but we try to sort of roll in the experts here and there to just help straighten us up and give us a few little tips and tricks. And
Okay, nice. And do you guys, do Dahlsens do stuff where they try and get all the sales managers together once a year? Because sales is obviously the lifeline for any business. Do they have a big culture on the sales stuff? So we do. Once a year we'll have a sales conference, right, which I'll run generally around February, bit of a kick off to the start of the year. Everyone comes back from holidays and I'll spend a couple of days together just going through what's coming up, what's been working well, a whole host of stuff. But just it's good to get the team together, right, and just have a beer and catch up and just that sharing of knowledge that they have. Everyone's because we sell a wide range of products. Our team's quite diverse. We've got ex-carpenters, we've got ex-people that have sold windows to roof trusses. So everyone's got a really different skill set.
and we sell such a wide range of products that people generally play to their strengths, but it's nice when they can share some knowledge about what's worked well for them and for the builder. So
absolutely. I did want to touch on a few things about that around new products. You guys got some stuff you're like releasing? Is anyone else into it? Like what?
Yeah, well, for us at the moment, 7-star, right? The changes in the National Construction Code, that's big, right? So was it late last year in New South Wales it changed, and only May 1st in Melbourne it's just changed. So for us, it's our merchandise team. We've been working closely with our suppliers of, air circulation. So lots of work's on, right? Where can we get all these vents from, and what are we going to need to stock? And as our builders transition to this 7-star, making sure we've got those new products on the shelves, so builders have got access to them.
Yeah, and all the stuff that you guys doing to do that, is it all sourced within Australia? Or
for the most part, some of it might be imported. I'm not, some of our suppliers may import it from overseas. Like, what it's like, a lot of stuff comes offshore these days.
Yeah, 100%. But as long as it meets the ratings, I suppose, then
exactly right. Yeah, as long as it meets all the current codes.
Yeah.
And we sort of work closely with. A big part of our business is frame and truss, prefabricated frame and truss. So we work closely with Prida, who's our partner there. Yeah. And they've developed some really cool sort of screw system called Speed Truss, which has been pretty cool. Like the builders can, rather than, no one likes working at heights these days, and safety's big out on site. So this is more about, being able to secure the trusses just through drilling, a screw through the heel of the truss. You can do that from steps.
Are they still standing up on top plates?
They're still standing up to stand them up.
Yeah.
But they don't have to fix them so that they can fix them from down on the ground. So rather than going skew them, they just a screw at each heel of the truss.
Does it have like a bracket from top plate, like stud and top plate up onto truss, or how is it?
No, it's just one sort of 180 odd mil screw that just screws straight down, and then
nice. I'd be keen to see that. It would be good to get something and put that up on the screen during the podcast.
Yeah, cool. It's a pretty good initiative, and the builders that have come across and starting to use it are really seeing the benefits. It's quicker for them out inside, it's safer, and all that stuff, right?
Anything to do to save labour hours on site for builders, man, that's got to be a huge plus for sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys do any steel manufacturing or all timber?
No, predominantly timber. We've just gone into our first foray of steel truss and frame out in sort of East Gippsland, so I call that about 4 hours southeast of Melbourne. Yeah. We just opened up a really small steel truss and frame.
Just to test the waters? Or?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. We sort of partnered up with a couple of guys down there that we work closely with.
Suppliers for steel, you mean?
No, builders. There are actually a couple of local builders, right? Yeah, and they've gone, hey, listen, we want to jump into this, and so we partnered with them. And it's starting to get some traction, right? There's a bit of demand, and where they are, they can sort of service up into Canberra as well. So Canberra's a bit more of a steel-orientated market. So anyway, we're having some wins. It's relatively new for us, but it's exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. How you say steel-dominated area. How does an area kind of predict what you're using?
I don't know. I think it's more whether it's more that commercial space in Canberra where there's a bit more acceptance, we feel, of steel.
Less regulation.
Yeah, I think well, just use of it. I think they just prefer to use whether it be Canberra's a new market for us, so I'm trying to get my head around how all it works. But steel seems to be widely accepted up in Canberra, whereas Melbourne it's still more of a timber market.
And so just pretty keen to talk about the frame and truss stuff because it'd be good to know high level what you guys are seeing in volume space. So you guys will do is it a standard 90 by 45 that you guys do, and then just standard truss?
Yeah, it's generally 90-35.
90-35. And do you do LVL stuff as well?
Yeah, correct. So depending on the beam, so we've got obviously the software through Prida, who's our partner in our truss plants. So that the software will dictate what, as per Australian standards, what we need to use, whether it needs to be a 140 LVL bottom chord or whether it could be a bit of 90-35 NGP10.
And what's like your standard, like what's the most common, just for people interested to know, what's the kind of most common frame and truss package? Like duplexes, standalone homes, what's like the most common?
For us in Melbourne, it's more sort of standalone homes. We're seeing some more multi-res stuff, certainly in Melbourne.
Would you say that's kind of your, like what is your target market? Like custom home build standalone stuff?
Yeah, we do a lot of that. That's somewhere we're heavily involved with, and we also do a lot of stuff for first home buyer builders as well.
Okay, cool.
Right, so there's a real mix. We've got 7 frame and truss plants just in Victoria itself.
That's huge.
So we sort of we get a bit of everything, to be honest. Yeah.
Now I know I like to say monthly average and square meter average. You can go very, very broad. How many sort of frame and truss units are you guys delivering a month now versus last year? Very rough.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the exact number, but I'd say that we'd be down we'd be doing 30% less than what we were than last year.
Yeah. Did you guys sort of see that prediction coming through last year, or has it been a snap down?
No, we had a feeling, right? So we had that boom throughout COVID, right? You know, it went off its head, right, for a couple of years, and crazy lead times at, you know, 3-4 month lead times, and we just, you know, and as a sales team, we were in a precarious position of saying no to customers, right? Like, you want to help them out, and these guys are really battling. I just need to try and source some product, and we're saying, sorry, we just can't help you, right? So that was tough, but now it's sort of quite the opposite. It's
crazy how
really
it's
come
changed
off.
in 12 months, eh?
Yeah.
I can't imagine the frame and truss plant were very happy when you're getting calls and they're getting calls and you're 4 months out and they're thinking, stop fucking ringing us, man. We can't do any more.
Correct. You know, our sales guys being sales, you know, they just want to help our customers, and you know, we beg, borrow, and steal trying to find slots in production, but it was becoming increasingly harder. So.
And was that production still very busy for steel and timber, or was it just timber that was just going?
Well, steel's still relatively new for us.
Okay. Cool.
Timber was just, it was crazy, even just trying to source, you know, pine framing for our guys or LVLs for builders out on site was just hard work. Yeah,
so lead times last year for that was still very tough as well.
Yeah, they'd come back a little bit from, say, the heights of the COVID period, and they've slowly sort of come back, and now obviously, you know, there's plenty of stock available.
Yeah, for sure. And when you look at sales numbers, that 30%, was that pretty much across the board for Dahlsens?
Yeah, pretty much, Yeah, Sydney's a newish market for it, so we're trying to grow our brand up there. But pretty much we've seen at least a 30% drop in most markets. There's been some little hot spots where it's been okay, more so in regional Victoria.
Yeah. Do you guys service the sort of DIY home owner market as much as well, or predominantly group builders where you make your money?
Yeah, not so much. More in some of our regional areas, we'll deal with some DIY type people or owner builders. Yeah. Predominantly, though, all we deal with is builders, and they can, as I said before, range from, you know, guys that do, you know, decks and pergolas to, you know, 400 or 500 homes a year. So
nice. So would you say your top 10 sort of main builder clients, how many homes are they delivering a year? Just to give people a perspective.
Yeah. So, you know, go from, you know, someone from the likes of Simmons who would build 2,000 homes a year.
That's huge.
We don't do all of that, but, you know, we get a proportion of that. So our top 10, and then if you say, look at our 10th biggest builder, they might be doing, you know, 400 homes a year. But so that's sort of the top few. Our real core customers, really those smaller builders that do anywhere from sort of, you know, 5 to 10 homes a year. Nice. To be honest, that's sort of our bread and butter, and find we can add some real value in that space.
What's the difference of how much you supply versus a big builder versus a small builder? So I could imagine you're a small builder. They're probably going to get a take-off for the full house of materials. Would you say you do bigger turnover per job with a smaller builder rather than a bigger builder? Like the bigger builder is going to shop around and get frame and truss from here, jib from here, insulation from there. Yeah, it's
a mixture. Like it's with some of our bigger customers, because we've dealt with them for so long. And I think part of our strength is our regional network. So whilst in the metro environments, there's lots of different supply options for them. In some of the regions, there's not. So, you know, we're a really good sort of one-stop shop for some of these guys. But to generalise, we'd probably get more proportion of the build with some of our smaller guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know you spoke about estimating for builders. Is that a service that you guys offer for tradies and for builders to do takeoffs?
We've tried in the past, and we sort of just haven't had the demand. Felt like there was, and we get a little bit of traction, and then we're just trying to understand how our estimation matches up with the builder's expectations once it gets to site as well, right? Because everyone does. We just found everyone does things just a little bit differently. Whether it's the way they build their frame, or whether they put double studs, or whether they use F17 versus pine. So we've had a few goes at it, but nothing too successful.
Yeah. There is definitely something to be said with stick at what you're good at, stick to your niche. But I mean, as a business, you're always thinking, you know, if you have 100 customers and 10 are asking for something, you're thinking, shit, if we actually bring this in, monetize it, work it well, advertise it to the other 90, that could be a whole nother string of bows, you know?
Yeah, we've tried to go down the path of partnering with, you know, a business called Build Exact.
Yeah.
So we've been working closely with them for the last few years. We saw that as a platform for estimations and takeoffs of the type of builders that we deal with, is right in their sweet spot. It wasn't, you know, the larger estimating packages. So we're finding that seems to be working well, and integrating our pricing in with Build Exact as well seems to work well.
Yeah, that's important for builders. I mean, all of our stuff does that, and I believe it links up with Xero quite well. It's a project management software. It's pretty good.
Because our experience is most of these guys and girls are doing this stuff at home right after hours, right? So the last thing they want to do is then just send emails off going, hey, can you give me a price on You know, it's all there for them, and they can do their estimation, you know, that night, and hopefully streamline the process for them.
Yeah. Keen to talk more about the builder stuff shortly. I know you guys are in 3 different states. What's kind of like the general consensus of where the market's sitting at the moment, and maybe like forecasted for the next year? And then what states are sort of looking like the busiest at the moment versus the quietest?
Yeah, sure. Flat is the market at the moment. So
sales guys are stressing a bit.
No, sales are down, right? And then talking to, I was only out talking to a volume builder this morning, and what many of them have seen is there was a spike in sales in April, just before the May 1st tick over of the new NCC construction code. And then from May 1st, there's been a real drop off, sort of 40 to 50% drop off in sales since then. So, we're really planning for sort of batten down the hatches for 2024 and probably the start of 25. The crystal ball's a bit cloudy at the moment. Even talking to builders, I think it'll start to turn. There's a few factors, interest rates, etc., that might influence that. So that's sort of Melbourne and regional Vic. This impacts all of it, but for us, we've got new markets in Canberra and Sydney, so for us it's a market share play. Trying to build our brand and let the locals know what we do up there.
I mean, it's always a little bit scary when people see sales drop off. I suppose everyone kind of goes into conservation mode and like restrict what they're doing. Like, what is sort of some key plays that Dahlsens make when there's a bit of a restrict? Like, do you guys pull back on stuff? How do you, when you say batten down the hatches, what's like a bit of a consensus of what you guys do?
So we might pull back on some of the nice to have. So some of the some of the customer events. Unfortunately, right? That's just reality.
That's a luxury expense.
Some of the merch. We like most of the trade suppliers will do our polos and our shirts and all that stuff. So we we just trim back a little bit of that stuff. Unfortunately, we've had to make some redundancies recently just because we just had to cut our cloth to suit because that's business. Which is sad, but that's just the reality of the market we're in at the moment.
100%. And would you say, I mean, it's always a shit when there's a downturn, but I always find the smaller builders, if they market well and they do good work, they're the ones that are going to stay somewhat busy. But it's always scary when the big builders run out of work. You look at the downplay effect from the 1 to 2 man band, labour only builders, painters. It's a bit of a tough ride, eh? What do you think? Do you think there's anything at a high level? If you had the crystal ball, or you could make some changes, what would be some things that could help the Australian construction industry sort of stay afloat? Are there any? Do you think there's too much red tape? Do you think what's stuff at a high level?
If we talk to, I'm not a crop, but certainly talking to our builders, feels like there's more and more red tape, right? And what we're talking to a lot of our smaller builders. And those that might have been doing it for a few years already and maybe nearing retiring age or getting there going, it's just becoming too hard. There's too much red tape. There's too much, it's just too much for me to have to get my head around. I'm not a builder anymore. I feel like I'm more an administration person.
It's tough, eh?
And they're either going back on the tools because they want the responsibility, or they're just, kicking the heels up and going fishing.
Over it. Going fishing. Do many of your builders, are they moving more towards the project management role? Because there's a huge drop in apprentices dropping out of the industry at the moment. I think it was like 50,000 last year. I don't know. Where do you see the sort of general building industry going in the next sort of within 5 to 10 years? Like, do you think we're running out of builders?
Feels like there's going to be consolidation. And we've seen that after COVID. We've had probably a record amount of builders go into liquidation. Since COVID, that unfortunately for a lot of the builders, it was this profitless boom. And that's it was been really really hard for them. You could see the stress on their faces during the time as they're trying to manage their way through some fixed price contracts and what have you. So it feels like the big will get bigger. And it's it's going to be more challenging.
Tough to compete. Have you guys? How do you look out for that? If you think if you have a creditor owes you money, builder, do you have any watch signs for stuff like that? Because that can be detrimental to a business, And I feel like every other week in Australia, it's another big builder going under that owes millions of dollars.
It's we've probably been a little bit fortunate. We haven't been hit by too many big ones, but we've got our credit team and certainly our and we insure all our accounts. So and we just keep an eye on it. We trade most of our accounts are 30-day trading accounts, and we're pretty good. As long as the builders keep talking to us and explain their situation, we'll work with them. And we'll put them on stop, unfortunately, where we need to, and then we'll just keep an eye on it. And where the locals have creditor meetings, and
yeah,
we keep an eye on these things and trying to mitigate the risk that way.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be pretty tough sending the old material price increase emails out whenever they go up. How do you guys sort of try and address that? Is there a way that you're pinching to try and keep stuff down as best you can?
Yeah, at the moment, absolutely. So we're working really hard with our suppliers, just going, hey, this is a tight market. Our builders are suffering, and in turn, we're suffering. There's less work. So, we're working really closely with our suppliers, trying to get some support from them. And certainly throughout COVID, which was just these unforeseen increases, we decided very early that the best way to do it was just be really transparent, right? So these guys are writing contracts months out to build, and we thought we can give as much notice as possible about what the increase. They might not like it, but at least they knew about it and they could factor it in. So we'd send out marketing EDMs to all their customers, going, hey, just so you know, Pine's going to be increasing, LVLs.
And give as much notice as you can.
We try, so typically we'll get about 60 days notice, and as soon as we'd find out, we'd try to just get something out to our customers just to make us as transparent as possible.
Yeah, that's tough. Did you see a lot of your local builders like shopping around more for pricing during that time? Like, do you think everyone was looking for a hidden supplier that was?
It was more. It was less about price and it was more about supply, right? That was
time frames.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're locked into a contract with penalties or clauses.
Correct. Every day, you've got carpenters on site and there's no timber. It was just costing them. So at the moment, when the market quietens and it's quite tight and it's there's a lot of competitive tension, we're finding now, whilst the market's a bit slow, our quote inquiries have gone up because everyone's, it's a bit of a buyer's market at the moment. So the builders are certainly shopping at the moment.
Have you seen, from your high level talking to suppliers, and quick question, how often do you guys talk to your main suppliers? Like, is this a monthly conversation or?
So we have a merchandise team that directly manages their relationships with the suppliers. Our larger suppliers, they'd be talking to them multiple times a week, on separate things. Yeah.
Just to ensure everything's tickety-boo.
Everything's going okay, what stock's coming in and what's happening with pricing and availability and just a whole host. Yeah. Well, they're an integral part of our business. So,
have you guys seen costs or percentages come back from suppliers at all during COVID? Because they always kind of say once it goes up, it's never really, come back? Or?
It has. Some areas have, LVL, and that was sort of in line, I think, with some of the shipping costs coming back.
Yeah, true.
Coming back down. So a lot of, the LVL product was imported from, Northern America or Europe. So we've seen that come back.
So you did see that come back quite a bit?
Yeah, not as much as it went up, right?
Yeah, see, that's the scary bit, because it's like, I'm pretty sure we did a shipment of stuff into New Zealand pre-COVID, and a shipping container was $2,500, and then went up to $6,000 during COVID or just after. But then now it's sitting around $4,500. So it's like, when do you ever get back?
No, and I believe it's going up again is what I heard this morning. So
that will never happen.
No.
Another way, I just wanted, obviously, frame and truss is a huge supply, but you guys do everything across the board, fixings.
Yeah, so we do everything from sort of, from frame and truss to, even starting before that, we, in a lot of areas we'll supply pods and mesh for the foundations, and then we'll get out to, we'll do everything like ovens and plumbing.
Okay, so you do in-home appliance stuff as well, Yep. And is that all like sourced from within Australia?
Certainly Australian businesses. A lot of the stuff like appliances would certainly all come from
overseas.
Yeah, China.
Steel as well. Did steel go massive cost increases?
Yeah, certainly fluctuated. Steel doesn't, probably up more than down.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's all good. Like, from a pricing estimating standpoint, whenever we try and do quote proposals, estimates, we'll always do frame and truss at rough square metre rates to get ballparks. Do you guys, I know everything's custom.
And we deliberately don't do that. We've had lots of builders over the journey go, hey, can you give me a square metre rate on
just
trusses?
Just for expectations?
Yeah, because it can fluctuate. Talking to our truss gurus that know, when you price a job, it can fluctuate wildly in the cost, so that whether they can either be overs or unders. So as a business for years now, we've just sort of steered away from going down any square metre, because it can just makes it hard to manage expectations a bit.
And is it still something that your residential builders are requesting? Do they still request that, or they kind of get the gist now?
We just get sent it. They get the gist. They just send us their plans. And we quote it, and typically, within sort of a week, they've got a quote back, sort of itemised quote, letting them know exactly what's included.
How many in each store on average? How many people do you have sort of in the store, on the floor, out on the floor, and out in the back office? roughly, depending on store size?
Yeah, correct. The store sizes vary, from our little, our little trade site in Deniliquin up on the New South Wales border to the team here or at Pakenham, but we typically have, half a dozen people out in the yard on average, and probably similar amount in the branch.
And builders coming in on a daily basis?
Yeah, absolutely.
40 to 50 guys coming in?
Yeah, and again, it can vary. In the regional towns, they're almost on clockwork. You can see them in there at 6:30 every morning, grabbing a coffee, picking up their timber or their shits and bits for the day.
Yeah, shits and bits.
And away they go, right? Whereas in Melbourne, where it's a bit harder to get around, a lot of them will just like it out on a truck, right? We're really a logistics business, so it's all about just getting it on a truck and onto site on time.
Yeah. How do you guys find about hiring staff? Is it hard to get decent people to do this stuff?
Yeah, it has been. It's got a little bit easier. I mean, the business has been running for a while, so we've been really fortunate with our retention of staff's been really good. So we're really fortunate like that. So we haven't had to go out too often, but it seems to be getting a little bit easier, but it's still a bit of a challenge.
How does Dahlsens sort of look at team culture? Like staff retention must be something that's big across any business. Do they have any sort of tips and tricks on how they try and keep people?
No, it's more about just the culture, and that sort of comes from the family down, right? We've still got the Dahlsens heavily involved. The owner of our business, he's 89, and John's in at the office every day.
Every day?
Yeah,
Where's he based?
In our Notting Hill support office.
Every day.
And sharp as a tack, and his son is our CEO now, moving into the chairman's role, and only out here on your way past, you would have met the 6th generation Ed, who's part of the family as well. So so just through that real family feel and family values, they still they like to instill that in the business. I think that's gone a long way over the years to build that culture.
How many staff nationwide would Dahlsens have? Are we talking 1,000 plus?
Yeah, about 1,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have like kind of a strict mission or statement of what they're trying to achieve or what their kind of values are?
Yeah, so there is, we've certainly got our values, and that's generally posted up at most of our branches.
Yeah, nice.
And we've certainly got our missions, and we just want to be known as a leading supplier of building materials into our customers, right, and make life easy for them.
Yeah, nice. And what's kind of, do you know like what the vision or the goals are for the business? Like you said, you're trying to push a few more things, work on the e-commerce platform. Like what are
that's for us. That's the next big thing. We've probably been, we've got some opportunity in that space to do that a bit better, and get some online catalogues.
Nice.
And again, just to make our builders' lives a little bit easier. Everyone's a bit time poor these days, so if we can give them access, at their fingertips to all their pricing, it's going to make their life a bit easier.
With times getting tough, is there a lot of sort of conversations from the owners and the family, like, from head down, this is kind of what we're looking at doing? Like, are they pretty good at keeping everyone, hey, everything's good, everything's secure, this is what we're working on, these are the goals for the business?
Yeah, no, they've been really good at communicating, and certainly throughout the last few years there've been a lot of acquisitions, hence we've moved into these New South Wales, and they've acquired other family businesses, so they've been good at, when they could, then communicating that to us and what we're planning to do, and obviously, and really important to the family is retaining those people in those businesses when we acquire them.
Are they trade businesses?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So they're just staying within the trade.
They're the same as what we're already. They're either trade businesses or they're frame and truss manufacturing.
Can you elaborate on the other businesses they've sort of been acquiring?
Yeah, and that's all it's been. So there's been little ones, from the south coast. If we look at a little old business in Nowra, which is in the south coast of New South Wales, to a truss plant in Ulladulla.
Nice.
I think the family's built a name over the years that they, when the current owners of, whether the next generation doesn't want to step up or they've just had enough. I think that the family have known to want to grow their network, and I'm sure John and Jeff get a few knocks on the doors and
that's good.
conversations.
How often do you talk to them?
To John and Jeff?
Yeah.
Well, John's in every day, so you can't.
Of course,
And Jeff sort of, I speak to him relatively regularly. He's all over the place, but they seem often enough, and they're all very approachable.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So you obviously, you get around quite a bit. How many times are you travelling to all the different areas?
Yeah, so quite regularly into New South Wales. That's a real focus for us at the moment. So up there every couple of weeks.
Nice.
And then not out to the regions as much as I'd probably like, but that's just I'm a bit time poor at the moment.
And we met a bit of common ground. You're a Rex Air fan, eh?
Yeah, correct. With the business,
the
business that we do, right, in the regional areas, it makes it quick and easy for us to get on and off, and they're good people.
Yeah, beauty, man. Yeah, I'm definitely going to slag off Jetstar here, but I love Rex Air, so I'll be going back to them for life.
And with you, brother.
What do you do when you're not selling timber, mate? What's your personal preferences?
Yeah, I love getting out with some buddies and playing golf on a Saturday afternoon, right? That's just a great time to just relax on the weekend. Just, spending some time with my girls. Typically, they're two teenage girls, so typically that's just being an Uber driver and like, Dad, can you take me here or drop me off here or pick me up here? But
Uber premium, eh?
Exactly.
You're in a Lexus or a Mercedes or something?
Not quite, but
Okay, cool. And you don't throw a few hard balls down the cricket pitch at all?
No.
No, not anymore?
No, I've got a few of my buddies who have got their kids who are now coming out playing cricket with them, and they're trying to get me back. But
nice.
I'd be that old bloke that'd pull a hamstring second ball because that competitive spirit would come out.
That's good, mate. Anything you sort of want to say to the general residential builder who's currently on your books or looking to maybe look for a good supplier? Why should they choose you guys?
Firstly, anyone that's using us, thanks for your support. We we really do. We really value the relationships that we've got with our builders, and that's quite genuine, sort of from the family down. And for anyone who hasn't given us a go, give us a go. I think, we have a real focus on customer service. We just deal. Our catch cry is for the builder. Right. We understand some of the challenges that these guys face day in, day out. Right. So we'd like to partner with our suppliers just to try and make your life easier. So come and talk to us. See if we can't help you with some solutions.
Yeah, nice. And just last question, out of your top 3 biggest stores, what are the biggest stores doing in volume at the moment, roughly? And what cities? Who's doing the biggest volume?
Probably Melbourne's our biggest. Melbourne Metro. And we'd have a few sites there that sort of doing in excess of $1 million plus a month. Yeah,
that's huge.
In sales, so that's it's a fair bit of stuff out in the back of a truck.
And that's for everything across the board, frame and truss, everything off the floor.
Yeah, frame and truss plants would probably be a little bit bigger than that, and then our trade sites as well be doing similar sort of figures. Some of our bigger trade sites. Yeah, so
cool.
The busy little hubs, that's for sure.
Nice, cool, man. Thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
Awesome.